welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking all about my favorite makeup brushes. These are my essentials. These are the makeup brushes that I use every day. I wanted to share them with you guys because I get a lot of questions on the topic of vegan synthetic hairs and what brushes have, what brands carry the best ones, which brands are making high quality yet affordable ones. So I have a variation of brands. If you guys are new to my channel, make sure to subscribe and like this video if you enjoy it and if you want to see more videos like this. Or if you have a suggestion for me, make sure to write it in the comments below. So I'm gonna get into my favorite brushes. Essential that I must have at all times is a beauty blender. I love my beauty blender for a number of reasons. I love the finish that it gives me. I love how it shears out my makeup in the areas where I don't need it and helps me pack it on in the areas where I do. It really helps me control the finish throughout my face. I feel like everybody should have a beauty blender in their makeup collection. A great dupe for the beauty blender is the EcoTools Beauty Sponge. They just came out with one that is amazing. It's super soft. It has an angled tip and I absolutely love it. I used it in one of my makeup tutorials. This is what the sponge looks like. It is extremely soft, guys. It's so soft. It blends your makeup like a dream. I fell in love with it. I love it just as much as my beauty blender. It's my favorite way to apply foundation. Like, it has been for years. I feel like for my under eyes, I love my beauty blender the most. It makes sure that I shear out any concealer so that I'm not applying too much, so I don't experience any creasing. I also love to use my beauty blender because it's super versatile. I like to bake with my beauty blender when it's damp. I like to apply a little bit of rose water to it and place my sheer translucent powder underneath my eyes. If you guys want a video on baking, make sure to let me know. And I think I'm gonna be doing that really soon because I love baking. I have a newfound obsession with Luxie brushes. Not only are they just made really well, but the brush heads are my absolute favorite. This is the Rose Gold collection, and this came in the Luxie 5-piece Rose Gold Kabuki set. I personally do not use all of the brushes in the set, so therefore they're not all in this video. My favorite one would have to be the angled top buffer brush. For me, it's kind of like a beauty blender on a stick. If I'm in a rush and I just need to bop, and I need to be out the door with still kind of an airbrushed full coverage finish, this is my go-to brush. This brush blends out any full coverage foundation the way that you want it to, and it really helps the way that I apply my foundation on a daily basis. I feel like this brush caters to that. So what I like to do is, I have the majority of my hyperpigmentation is in my cheek area, so I like to kind of pack my foundation on in that area. These brushes, what I really enjoy about them is they don't soak up the product, so it really helps to kind of glide it onto your skin, move it around, and blend it out. So what I do is I kind of just bop like that, and then bring it up like that into my cheek area. I don't put a lot of foundation into the center of my face at all because it's fairly clear, so I don't really have to. I just need like a very sheer amount, and this brush allows me to do that. So for me, my go-tos are really either this brush or the beauty blender. There's really no other way that I have been applying my foundation. These are the only two brushes that I use. My favorite concealer brush of the moment is from Plain Jane Beauty. This is kind of like a pointed edge, like pointed dome shaped concealer brush. The Luxie set like this, that it has a dome shaped brush in there, and I just don't like it because I feel like it's too hard and stiff. But then Plain Jane Beauty sent me this brush, and it was smaller and softer but still had that precise dome shape, so I feel like this brush I enjoy a lot better. If you like the Luxie brush, well, if you don't like the Luxie brush that came in that 5-piece set, you might want to consider getting this brush because it gives you the same exact concept without the hardness of the brush, and it blends out concealer a little bit better in my opinion. And it's smaller, so if you're really trying to get into specific areas, I feel like this brush is a little bit easier to use. I like to use this underneath my eyes. Since it has that dome shape, I can kind of get into the creases underneath here and drag out the product to give me that kind of under eye concealer shape that I want everything to form. So I like to go out like this and then blend with my beauty blender. I always blend my under eye concealer with a beauty blender. I never use my Luxie brush, just in case anybody has any questions on that. Some drugstore brushes for you guys. So these brushes are super affordable and you can find them at any drugstore. I really love these brushes from EcoTools. They're part of their new collection, and these are some of my favorite brushes. EcoTools I've been using for years. These you can find at Target, you can find them at the drugstore. The first one that I'm going to talk about is this powder brush. So this is a domed powder brush. It's called the full powder brush, and I like this one because of the dome shape, because I can say, okay, I want to make right here super matte. I can do that and it's not going to just throw powder all over my face. So I love this because I can really control where the powder is going and where it's not going. I love to keep this area really luminous, so I always look like I have a natural glow there. So I'm not always relying on a ton of highlighting powders and things of that nature. I love a good highlight, but a trick to making my makeup look a little multi-dimensional with less product is letting my skin be a little dewy in certain areas and matte in other areas. It's a quick tip and it's something that will save you a ton of time. And this brush helps me do that really easily. The next brush I'm going to be talking about is the highlight brush. This is the highlight fan brush. This brush, I have been using the highlight fan brush from EcoTools for years. It's one of those brushes that were always my go-to. They changed it up a little bit. They changed the shape and the size a little bit. They made it a little bit thinner, but it's still really thick. I love this brush because it applies my highlighters the best. It's not too thin. I have fuller cheeks and they're really high, so I've got a lot of real estate in this area when it comes to applying my highlight. So I really like this brush because it makes my highlight look a lot nicer. So if you like a lot of highlight, I'm not going to make this about face shape because it might not be, but for me I feel like that's a part of the reason why I like this brush so much. But this brush is really good if you like a lot of highlight and you like to apply a product from here to here and you don't just want a tiny bit. You can get that effect with this brush and it'll give you a little bit of product in that place you want to. It is still very precise, but if you're somebody like me that likes a lot of highlight and you like it to look diffused and natural, this is a really good brush. It comes in a set with this define brush. So this is the highlight and define set, the duo. It'll come at the drugstore. You'll see them together in a little package. This is one of my favorite contour brushes. I like the preciseness of this because it really helps me find the shadows of like the natural hollows of my face so that I can apply bronzer to look a little bit more natural. And the brush is also very soft, very dome shaped. So it gives you a lot of control. I don't know, I like dome-shaped brushes. I think we're starting to realize I like things with a point that are really soft. I use the method of 3, so I like to take my bronzer from here and start to kind of make a 3 shape with it, like that. And this really helps me to do that. So these are some really bomb drugstore brushes. So if you see them and you've been eyeing them, you should try them because I love them. These are kind of like miscellaneous face brushes. So this one is from Vanity Planet and it's just the angled, it's like an angled blusher brush. And this comes in the Vanity Planet set. I have a code for you guys. I'll leave it at the bottom. It's a really good set if you are starting out in beauty or starting out in makeup and you just need a brush set that's going to give you your core brushes. Vanity Planet makes a really cool set. And this is one of my favorite brushes from that collection. From that brush set. I like to use this brush. It's kind of like a very soft blush brush. I like to use this brush to apply highlighter. I like to use it to apply blush, and I like to use it to apply bronzer. They have 2 different shapes, but they both give me that control and help me get into the hollows of my cheeks. I like this one because it's very, very soft. It's softer than this one, but that's why I like them for 2 different reasons. If I'm applying a little bit more product, like I really want to get it all over there and make it look soft and diffused, but like a lot, and like if I'm going for a little bit more of a dramatic look, I like to go for this because this applies more product. Sometimes I use these brushes together. Sometimes I use one or the other. It really depends on the type of makeup look that I'm going for, but these are my 2 favorite for highlighting. Well, this is more multi-purpose. So I'm going to talk about my multi-purpose brushes. So starting with this is super multi-purpose. I use it for highlighting, I use it for contour, I use it for blush. The next brush that's super multi-purpose for me is from Royal and Langnickel, and this is a stippling brush. This is the stippler brush, yeah. So I like a big stippling brush to apply my blush. I've just always done that. It just helps. I feel like a stippling brush helps me to not apply too much product. The stippling brush helps me to really control the amount of product that I want to use. So, and I can also see it. I like that it has a tip and I can see how much product I've applied to it. Sometimes, you know, if I want to add more with time, the stippling brush really helps me to shear out my blush to the way that I like it. And if I'm in a hurry, I can also use it to apply my powders. I use it to apply highlight, that's a rare occasion, but I like to use this for either powders or my blush. The next multi-purpose brush that I have is from It Cosmetics. I've had this brush forever and I really, really like this brush. It's a two-sided brush, and this brush is really cool because it's got the all over side and then it's got the conceal side. So if I'm on the go, I can do an entire makeup routine with this one brush. So let's say I have a makeup bag and I put just one brush in my makeup bag. I can get my entire makeup routine done with this one brush, and all I would need would be like maybe a brush for my brows, but I can get a whole makeup routine done with this. If you want me to do a video on that, like a multi, I was thinking about doing that, like a multi-use product video. I think this would be really cool because this brush helps me to do everything. So this is my go-to multi-purpose. If I'm in a rush and I need to do my makeup in like the Uber or something, I'll run towards this. I'm going to move into my eye brushes, which are my favorite because it took me a long time to find eye brushes that I really, really love. I am very careful with the kind of brushes that I use because of my hoodies. And if you have hooded shaped eyes, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm gonna start with my brush that I use for my brows. This is my absolute favorite brush. This is from Plain Jane Beauty, and this is the brow brush, and it comes with the spoolie on this side and the angled brush on this side. I love this because it's really rough and it gives me hair-like strokes, and it controls how much product I use in one area. I find that with more sleek and softer angled brushes, I tend to over apply product. So this really gives me a very natural brow. You guys know that I just use a powder, so I use this in a brow powder, and my brows are full and they're not too structured, but they do look defined and a lot fuller. I'm going to talk about angle brushes now, since we just talked about brow brushes. My two favorite ones are the Plain Jane Beauty angled brush and the Vanity Planet one. So I love these two. The reason why I have to have two angled brushes in my makeup collection is because I like to use angled brushes for two different things. I like to use the smaller Plain Jane Beauty one for eyeliner, and I like to use this one for my brows. I tend to use this one to carve out my brows and make them look a little bit more defined, and having two helps so that I don't have to clean one to do something else. So it's good to have two. This one is a little bit smaller, and like I said, I have hooded eyes, so it's really thin and it helps me get that clean line. Sometimes I use this one, sometimes I use that one. Like, it really depends on my mood. This is gonna seem really funny because this is like the tiniest brush ever. I use this in placement of a shader brush. I'm pretty sure this is a concealer brush, but I use it as a shader brush. I like to use this brush because it gives me precision in my lid area. I don't remember the exact name. I wish Vanity Planet had the names on the brushes, but this is in the set and it is my favorite. I think this is the Precision Concealer Brush. I'm not too sure. If you have the set and you know, make sure to write in the comments below so someone can know, and I might like write it in the description box or something, but this is my favorite. For crease brushes, I have a lot of crease brushes that I like, because I rarely ever apply like a base shade to my lids. I usually always apply like something in my crease and something very lightly dusted on my lids. So that's why I love my crease brushes. So I have four that I love. The first one, this is my fave. This one is actually Ipsy brand. It's the L34 Blend Beauty. This came in a gift bag of mine, and ever since I've gotten this, I've been obsessed with it. So this is my favorite. I use this to diffuse almost everything on my face. I use it underneath my eyes, I use it in my crease area, I use it to blend out the concealer under my eyebrows. I use this for everything. It's the perfect shape, it's super soft. Then I have these three, and they help me do things like get a little bit more precision on my eyeshadows. So I have this one. These are the two from Vanity Planet, and these two, so this is the crease shader and this is the large dome shader. The crease shader is a lot smaller, the dome shader is bigger and a little bit more fluffy. This last one is a lot bigger. It's like a lot bigger and fluffier. It's kind of like, this is like a larger version of this big one. It helps to apply a lot more product and in a larger space. So I like to use this for my transition shade because I like my transition shade to be really diffused and really blended. So I like to use this for that. If you are on a budget, I have been using this brush since I was in high school, and I have loved it to this day. It's from e.l.f. and it's called the Flawless Concealer Brush. This brush is super versatile. You can use it on your eyes, you can use it to blend out your concealer, you can use it to apply powders, to your under eyes, to prevent creasing. I use this for so many different things. If you've been eyeing it, you can get it at Target, you can get it at the e.l.f. store. It's such a versatile, affordable product. It's like $3. This doesn't shed, it doesn't, like, I don't get like brush bristles on my eyes when I'm using it at all. Like, it's just one of my favorite bargain brushes, and I think that everybody starting out in, like, you know, vegan and cruelty-free brushes should own like some e.l.f. brushes, because I feel like a lot of people are like on the fence about them because they're really inexpensive, but I have actually had really good experiences with e.l.f. brushes, and this is one of my faves, so I thought I'd mention it. That is all of my favorite brushes. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video helped you decide what brushes you might want to add to your core collection. So that's it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.